Okay, this is Martin Lucas, the CEO of Master Mindset. We are discussing the e-commerce show North. We have David Pert joining us. David is the head of e-commerce at DW Fitness First. Recent name change with some acquisitions you've been doing, right, David?
That's right, yeah. We've DW Sports, as you would have perhaps heard of us before, certainly in the north, has acquired Fitness First gyms in London to become DW Fitness First.
A lot of stuff going on then, and let's get to know you about that. So when we're talking about the e-commerce show North, what can people, why should they come to your talk, and what is your kind of experience? What are you going to be sharing with them?
Well, I'll be telling the story of DW Fitness First. We are facing some pretty standard challenges, really, based on omni-channel. DW Fitness First has previously put e-commerce on the back burner, as a lot of businesses have in the past,
Mm-hmm.
and I've got some catch up to do. We're in an exciting industry, so sports apparel is a huge industry, and we have some 96, I think, at this point, retail stores
Mm-hmm.
throughout the UK. And including Fitness First, around 130 gym locations in the UK.
Okay.
So this thing called omni-channel, which different people define in different ways, is very much what we're after. We're becoming an e-commerce-led omni-channel business. Previously, we were 1% of online revenue, or 1% of revenue was online, and the industry average is some 23%. So we've got a mountain to climb to get
Wow.
to just normal. And that shows very much how much e-commerce has been in the background so far. So what's happening now is we're changing all of that. So I've been there some 6 months now, one of several acquisitions, with the goal of changing DW Fitness First, turning it into an omni-channel e-commerce led business. So I'll be talking about that journey, how we're approaching it, coining the phrase one step at a time. Obviously, omni-channel is pretty damn scary.
Yeah.
Multi-channel was scary enough. And I think the approach that we're taking is a bold one. Right is a difficult thing to call it, but it's certainly an exciting approach. So I'll be telling that story.
Really exciting, really great project in front of. It's super interesting. And what would be the benefits and the gains of somebody coming to listen to your talk, do you think?
I think we're facing, as I mentioned, challenges that everyone's facing. Omni-channel is such an oppressive word, isn't it? That who the hell even knows what omni-channel is?
Right.
So I'll be talking about how we're approaching it, and the phrase that my direct line manager uses is one step at a time.
Right.
And it was his stimulus that created the title for this talk. Omni-channel, one step at a time, is almost a bit of an oxymoron. How do you do everything all at once, one step at a time?
Right.
But I think we're doing it. I think we found a way of approaching that seems to be working so far. And I'll be trying to, everyone likes a good story, but really what I'm trying to do is distill what are the key steps that an omni-channel journey can be broken down into, and hopefully that's a good takeaway for anyone trying to go through the same journey.
Wonderful. Okay, so let's talk about the e-commerce show North in general. Why do you think that people should come to the show? I mean, it's free, which is always nice. Why do you think that people should come?
Well, I mean, the North is becoming a bit of an e-commerce and an digital agency powerhouse, isn't it?
Yeah.
I've actually been really impressed with the number of businesses and the number of interesting businesses and agencies that are coming to the show. The keynote sessions in particular are very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Mine is one of the more boring ones amongst a very fit group of people to listen to. So genuinely very interesting stories and some really exciting brands presenting there.
Okay,
some
cool.
really big names as well.
Okay, I'd like to refocus on you as a person. When you look at your career and the life that you've had, what has brought you success?
I always hark back to my Shop Direct days. I was there when Shop Direct was going through a similar challenge to DW Sports is now. It was traditionally an online a catalog based business.
Yep.
It was needing to go through an awful lot of technological and cultural change to become the online led business it is now. And back then the approach was very much put the customer first and keep it simple.
Yep.
If you get the solid foundations right and start every challenge with how will this help the customer, growth becomes a byproduct.
I like that.
Seeing growth as a byproduct rather than the goal in itself, I think, is absolutely critical. It's amazing how many times the sales focus becomes everything.
Right.
And I'm a believer that sales is a byproduct of putting the customer first.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like to talk about what things are the byproduct of success, and I think that the customer first is, I think it's a line that people can sometimes use but really misinterpret and not focus on, not with the depth of the I know that you're talking about. And with that in mind, what would be your best tip for anyone out there to find their own path to success, if you like?
Well, it's funny. I was actually telling this story just a few days ago
Okay.
of when I went to LA many years ago. I used to play basketball, and I took a pilgrimage to LA and met some very interesting people. One of them had this wonderful approach of accepting that something he wanted to do was impossible, and then asking the question of someone, I get that this way is impossible, but if I was going to do it anyway, how would I do it?
Right.
And it's amazing what people say. People will always find a different perspective and come up with some way of achieving something that 5 seconds ago they would have told you was impossible. So my advice would be, if something does look impossible, it might just be that your solution is the impossible bit, not the goal itself. So ask someone, I know that way is impossible, but if I were to do it anyway, what would I need to do? And it's amazing what comes out the box.
I love that. I mean, I've interviewed hundreds of people. I've never heard such a fundamentally awesome way to get past people's resistance to change, if you like, or to come up with new things.
I
And
think that's the key, isn't it? You're giving someone permission. You're agreeing with them
right,
to say, "Yep, I get I get that way is impossible. Let's put that to one side, but let's think differently. And how would we do it anyway?" And people almost always know the answer. It's astounding what people come up with.
yeah, it's the kind of what if and what is, right?
Mm.
With that in mind, we're going to move into the world of magic right now, right? So this beautiful thing called hindsight. What is the one thing that you wish somebody had told you 10 or 20 years ago?
I remember cutting my teeth at Shop Direct in particular and thinking, God, there's a lot of people out there that know a lot of complicated stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm surprised at how nothing in e-commerce is actually very complicated. You don't need complex data models. And if something is complex, you're probably missing something quite important. So my key is identify something that you want to change. Find a KPI, a single KPI that you want to shift, and understand why shifting that KPI improves your business performance. And then set a plan that changes that KPI. And everything else just becomes simple. And if I'd taken that approach earlier, I think I probably would have avoided some rather large problems that became impossible over time.
Yeah,
Just
but
through sheer
then you
complexity.
wouldn't have earned the right to hindsight. You see, that's why it's magical.
Exactly.
Right, so for anybody watching this, I mentioned it already, it's free to register for the e-commerce show North. There is a really, really high quality, and they're aiming for a very true high quality so that attendees like CEOs, like founders, like heads of e-commerce, marketing, sales, people that are founding businesses, whatever it happens to be, you get to listen and meet people like David. It's a really fantastic opportunity. David, we really appreciate you giving up the time and coming on to explain all you did. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Thank you.